Hello and welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the Starting 11 prediction show. It is RB Leipzig. It is Liverpool. It's in Budapest tomorrow evening. I'm here to try and predict Jurgen Klopp's starting 11 for this one. I don't normally start off with a super chat. I normally put Alisson Becker on the board first. That will happen, but I am going to start with a super chat because we've got a boss one here from Gareth Baird. So thank you first and foremost. Just a quick message to let all the fans know at this moment in time, we have to get behind the team. In Klopp we trust. You'll never walk alone. Come on, Reds. And a big thank you to Hauser 1974, who has joined as a wonder kid as well. I just want to say, if you're feeling a little bit down and you heard all the rumours on Saturday evening about Jurgen Klopp and stuff, go and watch the press conference from this afternoon where Jurgen Klopp basically talks about what frame of mind he's in and stuff. I just felt it was a massive boost for me and my mental health around the footy and stuff. So I would absolutely implore each and every one of you to go and listen to Jurgen talk about it. But anyway, we're here for the Starting 11 prediction show. So, as mentioned, Alisson Becker, few mistakes over the last few games. I think it's probably fair to say he's going to keep his place in net regardless. The back four, it's going to be Andy Robertson, and then I'm going to disappoint a lot of people because I think that Jurgen Klopp will pick Jordan Henderson as a starting centre-half, and I do think it will be alongside Kabak, with Trent Alexander-Arnold as the right-back. And one of the reasons that I think that he'll go for this, rather than like throwing a Nat Phillips in there, I've already seen comments before we went live about putting Nat Phillips in there, and I can get behind that myself personally, but I do just think that Jurgen's going to go with Jordan and Kabak, because I think if Kabak's to start, and I think the idea is that he's probably going to be one of the new signings that does get regular starts for us, then throwing in with Nat Phillips is another new centre-back partnership. So I think we're going to see Jordan Henderson's leadership at the back in this one, which unfortunately means that the midfield three is Gini Wijnaldum, Thiago, and then I think it'll be Kurt Jones, because obviously we know that James Milner picked up that injury at the weekend. He's unlikely to start, and we know that Naby Keita, although he was back in training earlier on today, isn't going to be travelling with the side. So it leaves us pretty depleted in the centre of the park. I mean, Thiago was supposed to have the Leicester game off, but he ends up coming and playing 75 minutes. But I do think that will be the midfield three. And then the front three, almost by proxy, is just going to be the normal front three players, which leaves me with the bench, really, because I've mentioned there's going to be no Milner, there's going to be no Fabinho as well, and no Naby Keita, although he is back in training. We are going to see Adrian, I think, Kostas Tsimikas, Nico, Reece, and Nat Phillips. And then I'm going to go Shaqiri, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Clarkson, and finally Origi there to round off the bench. And this is where we're depleted in the centre of the park, is it? Because we could see Shaqiri, we could see Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, but does anybody actually think in a Champions League game against a very good side in RB Leipzig that those two lads are going to play in the centre of the park? Does anyone actually think he's going to change the formation? He could do. We maybe do need to change that formation to try and get a tune out of some of these players, but I think, you know, with the short turnaround again, I know it was Saturday 12:30, but into the Tuesday game, the likelihood is that what we are going to see is a 4-3-3 with Henderson at the back. And, you know, I want to see Henderson brought into the middle of the park, and I actually want to see sort of this as my midfield three going forwards until we can get Fabinho in there. Because I think Fabinho goes there, I think Jordan Henderson goes there, Thiago goes there, and there might be a case for Ben Davies going in at left-sided centre-half, playing with Kabak, and then getting off from midfield three of Fabinho, Henderson and Thiago. That's the midfield three that I'd like to see in this game, but I just don't think that Jurgen's actually going to do that. And because of that, it does mean that we do have limited options in the centre of the park. So we're going to get into some of the comments and stuff now then. Taluya Ayula says Shaqiri should start. So Jen Shaqiri there. If he is to start, I'd imagine it would probably be maybe in this sort of a position if we are to play that 4-3-3. Or there's a potential, isn't there, for doing something like that and playing that 4-1-2-1-2 almost, with Shaqiri as a sort of pseudo 10, able to pick the ball up wherever, maybe play Salah and Mane close together, give Bobby Firmino a little bit of a rest. But the game's too important for me. I just don't see that he's going to be able to do that. So I'm going to try and switch the players back to roughly where I had them before. Oxlade-Chamberlain is another one. I think he can probably slot in into this position if you wanted in the centre of the park, although I'm not really sure that he is going to be a genuine starting candidate for us at the moment. He just doesn't seem to be able to get into games, doesn't seem to be able to give us that cut and thrust of maybe a couple of years ago pre-injury from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So does anybody actually think we're going to see Phillips genuinely, rather than like, would you play Phillips? Do you actually think Jurgen will play Phillips in this game? Tarek Ozan just says bench Thiago. Why no Ben Davies on the bench? That's probably a bit of an oversight on my part, to be honest with you, but it's done now. And I'm still not actually sure where he is, you know, fitness-wise and stuff like that. So, Joe Games Ang, thank you so much for the super chat. Put Jay Kane on the bench instead of Nat Phillips, just to remind that Phillips is not in the Champions League squad. He wasn't in the Champions League squad. We do get to do it again, and I thought that he had been put back into the Champions League squad. Apologies if I'm wrong on that one. Ben Davies was back in training, yeah, I know that. And Sai shouting through the wall that he is back in the Champions League squad is Nat Phillips, which would have been a major oversight if that wasn't the case. I think we keep Thiago in, says I Love Dogs. Thiago, Mane and Salah. Are you thinking like sort of like what we were talking about before with the two strikers there, and maybe Thiago behind, maybe you could see Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the midfield and ask him to play that sort of creative midfield role? It's not something that we've seen yet, but I'm sure with his talent and his ability, he would absolutely be able to do that. Let's see if there's any more we can go through here. Thiago's more suited to the Champions League. He has to perform, no excuses, says James Batt. It was interesting hearing Henderson talk in the press conference before about Thiago and what a good player he is, what a good person he is, and what he's brought to the squad, and the fact that people are able to learn from him and stuff. And I think we'll lean on Thiago in this game quite a bit. Obviously, he's played in the Bundesliga for a long time. We've come up against this RB Leipzig team a lot over the course of the last few years and stuff. So he should have a little bit of insight into how they play and how their players, what they favour, what they like to do, what they don't like to do, and whether Liverpool could gain a bit of an advantage. So it might be quite good. We mentioned on the build-up show, which was like nearly an hour long actually today, about Trent Alexander-Arnold and them attacking down that left-hand side with Angelino. So it could be a big game for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Again, another reason why I'd like to see Henderson in this right-sided midfield spot, but I don't think we are going to do that. Hi Chris, bench Thiago, not Henderson, says Paul Wynn. Jota's 3 weeks, says Johnny Walker. I really hope that Jota is back in 3 weeks, but I don't expect that he's going to be able to change the fortunes of this side on his own, to be honest with you. But I really, really hope we see him soon, because we were told February. It's February. We've still not really heard anything else. When Jota comes back, would you start him, says I Love Dogs? I definitely will be getting him into the side as fast as possible. Obviously, he'll have been missing for quite a little bit of time, so he will need some time to reacclimatise himself, get his match fitness up and all that type of stuff. But giving these lads that little bit of a break and giving these lads that little bit of a kick up the arse is certainly something that I think is needed, because they're going into games knowing that they're not really being challenged for the spot at the moment. And I think that Diogo Jota was genuinely challenging them and making them play better, and he was playing outstanding himself as well. So could Origi be an option for this game aerially, says Milan Thanky? I don't know. Origi's not really done too much for us, has he, over the course of the last year, really? And it feels to me like he's very much run his course as a Liverpool player now. Maybe there is a couple of moments there that we can hang our hat on with Divock, but as far as a genuine option for this team, he's just not a first team player. He's not. He might be in that one of the first subs, but only when things are going really well, in it, like you bring him on to rest one of the lads. When we bring him on in the other sense of it, where we need a goal, we're just not getting a tune out of him. So no, I personally wouldn't. Kelleher on the bench, if he's back, yes, definitely over Adrian. Generally think that Naby would affect games more than Thiago, says Ellis Besford. Naby's been a big miss, and he's been a big miss since he's come into Liverpool, because he misses so many games. But when he does get a few games under his belt, you see what he can bring, and he just changes the sort of angle of attack, and he makes opposition players wonder what's going to go on. I don't think you see this sort of sideways passing and slow build-up play when Naby's in there, because he gets the ball, he drives, he dribbles. And it's something that Thiago's tried to do a little bit of, but not done it quite as well as Naby Keita was doing when he was in the side. Put Phillips on, says Joshua Lewington. And who would you play Phillips alongside then? Because, I mean, I suppose, would it just be a case of playing in with Jordan Henderson. It's a centre-back partnership that have played together before. That's the thing for me. If you move Henderson out of the midfield, you're almost certainly going to end up with a centre-back pairing that hasn't played for Liverpool, be it Ben Davies and Kabak, be it Phillips and Kabak, be it Reece Williams and Phillips, Reece Williams and Kabak. So the only centre-back pairing that has played together in training a lot would be Phillips and Reece Williams, but even in a game situation, that's a new one for us. So that's why I do think that Jordan's going to be in the back line regardless, because at least he'll have had a game with every one of them at some point. Odin, McCruden, I'd rather push Hendo into midfield. We need to back him. We need him back in there and play Davies and Kabak at the back. I know we're in an experienced partnership, but they'll have to play together sometime. Need him in midfield. I agree with you. That's what I would do. But, you know, we don't have the pressures of actually managing the club and, you know, ultimately having to live and die by the decisions that we make. I would rather see Davies and Kabak form some type of a partnership at the back and get Jordan into the midfield. But this show, I'm saying that this is what I think Jürgen will do. So there you go. That has been the starting 11. Thank you to everybody who's joined up as a new member, who's super chatted or who's just genuinely commented as well. Don't forget to like the video, of course. We'll be back an hour and 15 minutes before the game tomorrow night. I think we're going live with the podcast tomorrow morning as well, so turn notifications on for the channel. You'll get notified about that. But if you missed the podcast and you're just back for the game, we'll be doing the watch along as always. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on the Redmen TV.
Thank you so much for watching the Redmen TV YouTube channel. Everything we do here is funded by our wonderful subscribers to the redmentv.com. Get over there, sign up and get amazing additional content, interviews, documentaries, mini-series, and of course additional pre and post match day content.